My name is Charlie Morecraft, and once upon a time, I used to work for Exxon. I worked for them for nearly 30 years off and on, and I'm not just talking about sitting in some corner office somewhere pushing papers around my desk all day. I'm talking the low-down, dirty, don't talk about it in polite company jobs. You name an Exxon job, I've most likely done it. Digging ditches in the stinging rain, docking delivery barges at 4 a.m. in the driving snow, walking the line, working the line, and finally managing the line. That was me. That was my life. And the Exxon refinery was my home. I mean that almost literally. I lived about 10 minutes away from the plant. It seemed like as soon as I got home from one shift, I was turning around a few hours later and heading back to work. The crazy thing is, after all that's happened between us, I still retain Exxon as a client to this day. A very good client, in fact. I speak to their safety supervisors and consult on new safety initiatives. They gave me my first speaking gig, and I still speak to their employees frequently. Exxon's been very, very good to me. Hell, they kept me on even after I blew myself up, blew up that truck, and did millions of dollars of damage to the refinery where I worked. I even got a promotion when I came back. That's right, to safety manager, of all things. But wait, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Before that fateful night, I was what they called an oil movement operator at Exxon. Basically, I worked out in the field blending the gasoline that gushed through the refinery in miles-long pipelines that snaked throughout the sprawling plant near Linden, New Jersey. For those of you who can't picture Linden, New Jersey, or for that matter an oil refinery plant, think of the opening credits of the hit HBO series The Sopranos. You know the one, with Tony driving in his big SUV down the turnpike, arm out the window, big fat stogie in his mouth, and those 3 or 4 dingy white dome-type buildings passing by on the side of the road. That's where I worked, day in, day out, for nearly 30 years. Until my careless ways caught up with me, that is. So that was me. Dutiful, dependable, lived right down the road, always up for a double shift, knew what I was doing, and wasn't shy about telling others how to do their job while I was at it. But I was on the line, and not in the office, and that meant a lot in those days. Me and the guys I worked with, most of us, talked tough, lived hard, and drank harder. We were guys because only the toughest of the tough could do what we did and survive. I was also the guy who always thought that safety meetings were for catching up on my sleep in the back of the room, that safety equipment was for wusses, and that if you knew your job you could take shortcuts without any problem. Accidents were for other people, clowns mostly, wusses, punks, guys who couldn't handle their business or their liquor, or were never meant for this line of work in the first place. I absolutely believed that an accident would never happen to me, ever. And even if it did, I reasoned the only one who would be hurt by it would be me alone, not my kids, my parents, or my friends. Not my colleagues at the refinery or my bosses or the other guys who counted on me to lead by example. I believed all of this until the night of August 8, 1980, when I took a 10-minute shortcut that would take the next 30 years to recover from. Who am I kidding? I'm still in recovery to this day. Sunglasses and safety meetings. To put it mildly, I was never, ever overly concerned about safety on the job. Not my first year, not after 15 years, and certainly not after nearly 30 years. To me, safety meetings, what a joke, were nothing but glorified pep talks, dog and pony shows that management put on because, frankly, they had to. Truth be told, if I knew ahead of time we were having a safety meeting, I'd be sure to get good and hammered the night before. After all, what better way to sleep off a bender and get paid for it than during one of these snooze fests? Back then, if you walked into one of our safety meetings, you would have been able to spot me right off. I'd be the guy in the back, slouched down so no one would call on me,